Class! Class!
Stay together, class.
Hello, everybody. So, if you don't know me, I'm Dana Knowles. We're talking websites today. So I've got some little notes here. The first page is kind of why an artist needs a website. Showcasing your work, that's the first and most important thing. That's why it's there. It used to be you would have a kind of like a case about this big that folded out, and you'd put all your work in there, and you'd go to places and say, boom, here's my stuff. That's no longer true. Now it's your website. Everybody says, oh, you're an artist? Where's your website? Where can I see your work? One of the big reasons why you want to have your website, because you can put your stuff on social media and steer people to that. Instagram, and there's all kinds of other avenues for artists that look okay, but you're at their mercy on how it looks and how it interacts. You want to have control over your stuff and how it shows up. It's huge. Controlling your brand, controlling your message. I did not put anything in here on branding, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Actually, you kind of brought up the whole color thing, pink. Visibility and accessibility. You want it to be easy, especially if you're like going for a gallery, and the gallery is going to look at your website. You want it to be real easy, real easily navigable, and you get your message there quickly, because they're not going to give you but half a minute. If you don't catch their attention, they'll just move on. Marketing and sales opportunities. You can sell your stuff off of your website. Going to the extreme of having your own shopping cart, everything on sale there, and you take care of it all, you ship it. I have talked to very few artists who have had any success at all selling off of their website. One of the easiest things is to have an Etsy, because that's pretty easy, and then just link it, and there are other avenues to link having your actual shopping cart elsewhere and link to your website. But it really doesn't work. People are not buying art off of people's websites as a general rule. So the easiest thing to do is say, these works are available, contact me, and give them a great way to get in touch with you. Great easy way to get in touch with you right there. I know people that have sold work that way more than if they've had like an Etsy and stuff, because fine art, it's more of they really need to see it in person. Copyright protection. You have your work on your website, you have it's yours, and you've got that date, and you've got that proof that, hey, this is my stuff, and this is when I put it on the website. Other people can go and steal it, use it for their Facebook page or whatever they're doing. This gives you the way to say, if you have to go to court, say, hey, look, it was on my website on this date. You can, it does make a little bit of a difference, and I think nowadays people aren't stealing as much off of other people's websites as they used to, because they can just make it with AI if they don't mind having missing fingers on their artwork.
Or extra.
Or extra fingers. And then staying relevant. This is huge. Technology is changing, morphing. We see it with how, well, Instagram is a great example. Instagram started out really cool. Square format, you can only post from your phone, you take a picture of what you're doing, you post it, you share. Now look what they've done to it. It's always changing and morphing. And one of the examples is for your branding, you need to have color, some kind of color that goes. There's a lot of science to the color. Colors make you feel different things. But at the same time, there's a company called Pantone. Anybody know about Pantone?
Mhm.
They come out with a color of the year every year. And it's gonna come out pretty soon. Us geeky people are very excited. But after it comes out, you see everybody's websites are shifting to that color. So even though there's a science, a hard science behind color, there's also trends. And you need to keep your website up to those trends. For a while, there was one-page websites. Everybody wanted to have a one-page. That's no longer the case. So those are kind of some of the reasons. In a nutshell, there's a lot more information here. But in a nutshell, you're an artist, you need to be seen. People are going to look for you. And you need this website as the hub. I think of it as the hub. And then all the spokes go out to your other avenues, social media stuff, or like Artist Co-op, Latimer. They offer you a page on their website. You should link that into your website, say, another place you can see me. And that, at the very least, adds credibility. Anybody have any questions on why? Okay, here we go.
Not why, but just on the copyright.
Mhm.
How do you feel about like watermarking images or doing any of that stuff? Is that sort of pointless?
In a way, it is pointless now because with new advancements in Photoshop, Lightroom,
People can
all
take it
those
out
other
anyway.
things, it's really easy to take out.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I did a test years ago. I took a picture of this cute little wolf pup. Maybe there's two of them. And I put it out there on social and I put a tracking thing on it. And it went everywhere. And most of the people did not even bother to take my watermark off of it.
Maybe they thought that was like giving you credit or something. Like
Maybe.
it was okay.
Maybe. Nobody really said, I took this picture.
Yeah.
They just said, here's a cute picture of a wolf pup.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Thank
So,
you.
staying ahead of that game is really hard. The
Mhm.
easiest thing to do is make sure on your website or on social media that it is a small enough file that it's not going to be printable.
Mm-hmm. That's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a tough one. And the technology today is remarkable to be able to take that and change that stuff. So that's why. One thing I did not put in here we're going to talk about first, where when you start with your branding, one of the first things to think about is what are you going to call it? Are you going to use your name? Are you going to come up with a fictitious name? My first one was PhotoZen. I was doing a lot of photography. And of course I was shy, so I didn't use my name, PhotoZen, which was cool, and it worked out. But if I had to do it over again, I would use my name. Because your name is your identity. And people are going to be buying your art for your name, not for a company name.
Mm-hmm.
So that branding goes to everything you do out there. Your website, your URL for your website should reflect that name. Or whatever name you come up with if it's something different. All of your socials should go along that same line. So that when somebody does, say, a Google search for your name, as much stuff as possible comes up for you. And that really makes that continuity and makes you feel and look more professional. And that takes some forethought before you even create the website. Along with branding is how your website looks and feels. It can look masculine with masculine colors, feminine with feminine colors, neutral. Blues are always good, they make people feel safe. Pinks are attracting, very energetic. And even something as simple as fonts make a difference. You don't want it to go too crazy with fonts. you want it to be readable, and whatever energy you want to put out, whatever feeling you want your viewer to have, it should be so subtle they don't know they're being led. And that goes to your branding. It should be subtle but powerful. You take a look at the most powerful brands out there, they're usually pretty subtle. Nike, the Nike swoosh. That's very subtle, brilliant. It works so well. And remember, you can get stuck into a brand like, was it Cracker Barrel? They got stuck into a logo that I imagine would be really hard to put on a hat. It was a very complicated logo. So they went to the trends of, let's go to a simpler logo. Well, that went south really badly.
Well, that and they started taking everything off the walls and started changing the menus,
Yeah, yeah.
which people went, what are you doing?
Mhm.
You know, and that's when they got really slapped down. It
They
was
did,
just like-
and it was also, you know, a political. They were taken advantage of. That rebranding was taken advantage of for political purposes
different
as
time.
well.
By who? The person who started doing that?
No, the people
She
who.
lost her job.
Well, yeah, that, you know, she may have
Real
had
fast.
political.
Yeah.
And that's another thing to think about
Hers
too.
is when intentional, that she didn't want anything to do with the oldness of it, you know. and
Because
that's why people go there.
that's why people go there, but fewer and fewer people do.
Not in the south.
Not in the South.
And the
In the
Midwest,
West,
and
and
I
here.
mean, even in,
I've never been in a Cracker Barrel.
you're missing
Is it fun?
something. Yes,
Do we have one here?
yes,
I think they opened it like a couple
Keystone.
years ago.
Yeah.
No, I'll have to go check it out.
yeah, and it's good, you know, so when they started messing with everything, well, there's some really good recipes in that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's another thing to think about too, is your brand politically offensive? And it very
An
well
old guy sitting
could
in
be.
a chair with his arm on top of
Is
an
not
old
politically
barrel.
offensive. I worked for a company, here's an example. I worked for a company, I wish I
Don't do
had
that.
the images. It's a methadone clinic. So their idea for the brand was 2 hands holding up an infinity symbol. Very, very energetic, very good. And they brought it to me, I was doing their website, and they say, here's our new brand. And I'm like, okay,
What is it?
somebody's holding up breasts? And they looked and go, oh my God, we didn't see it that way. So they switched the hands up to the top. But having somebody else look at it, and logo's huge, hugely important. So that's where to start, because you need that collateral when you start your website. Once you built it all, it's hard to go back and change it. Especially once people get used to seeing it a certain way. And that goes to email addresses too. When you create a website, you really want to have your email address associated with that website. No Gmails, because that takes away your professionalism. But what do you want that email address to be? I just switched on our Zen Media website. I just switched from zenmedia.us to zenmedia.agency because we're expanding out. What a nightmare. And getting people to use a different email address is so hard. So the more thought you put out first, the better off you will be for longevity. Any questions on branding, color, fonts? Wingdings are always good. Nobody can.
Comic Sans.
Comic Sans, which is one of the more modern fonts actually. Most fonts are really old.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
surprises you, but Comic Sans was like in the, what, 90s? When it was made, and it was made for exactly that, comics.
Yeah, interesting.
Not for anything else. So when you get all that and you have those ideas come in, building the website, there's a lot of choices on how to actually build a website. You will need a host. That is where all your information lives. You're using their computers. Your information lives there, and other computers can reach out and grab that information. It's really kind of an interesting way it works. Hosts are not all the same. The one I use the most is Ionos. I've been using them for 25 years or something. They used to be 1-in-1, and then they merged. Hostinger works well, Bluehost. They all work okay. Once you get working with them though, they try to upsell you a ton. They make it hard to navigate their website to try and steer you to something to buy instead of handling what you already have. Which is one reason having a professional help you out with some of these aspects is so good. Because they really make it confusing.
And they're hard to get out of,
Yeah,
you know, once you get into them, they don't
Yes.
let you go.
yes,
You know, you almost have to buy your way out.
almost.
It's,
What's the one?
GoDaddy is the worst.
GoDaddy. GoDaddy's the
oh,
worst.
is it?
When you switch, so when you get your URL, your address, you don't own it, you lease it every year, you pay a payment every year, and it is actually kind of parked over with your host. So switching from one host to the next, you have to actually transfer that over. And they have like a legal amount of time to do it, like a week. GoDaddy takes every second of that time to delay that as much as possible. So yeah, they're very kind of predatory. Once you have your host, you need a content managing system. WordPress is the most used, easiest, and most advanced content managing system. Over the past 10 years, they have done a whole lot of work to it, made it something totally different than it was. So that's what plugs in to your host, and then you put all your information into the WordPress. It used to be, I don't know if anybody had experience with websites before, but you used to in WordPress bring in a theme. You find a theme like photographer's theme, and it has everything kind of geared that direction. Now it's so advanced that you get the theme that WordPress provides. They give you a new one every year, a new option every year, with names like, 2024, 2025, they don't have much imagination. But everything you need is there to build whatever you want. So you don't need to have a specific theme for your website for a certain direction. As a matter of fact, that kind of puts you in a box. Like if you use Wix or one of those prefabricated kind of things, they all look the same because they only give you so many choices. With something like WordPress, you have as many choices as you want, as many plugins, as many changes, and that really makes a big difference. Yes.
Can I just give a plug to WordPress.com,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is I've used for a lot of years and really like it, but it's a kind of a hybrid of you get the best of WordPress
Mhm.
without having to deal with a separate host.
Mhm.
And then they have lots of different levels of plans, so you can like do the free plan, but then you don't get, then your URL is something.wordpress.com, or you can do increasing levels.
And it works pretty well.
It works really well, and they were the very first one to update, like when everybody had to go to HTTPS,
Mhm.
they were the first one to just do that. They just did it in the background, just showed up one day, way ahead of any of the other hosts. So like, to me, they're the best kind of all-in-one option.
WordPress.com, it's
WordPress.com.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Not as robust as, say, Ionos.
I'm sure
but-
not, but then you don't have to deal with the host plus the
But then you
thing.
don't have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah,
And you've got the WordPress theme.
yeah.
Is that on this page somewhere?
Mhm.
I really suggest staying away from Squarespace or Wix. You'll end up spending more money than if you got a host or went on WordPress.com. Now, WordPress.com, WordPress.org are two different things. Even though they both are WordPress and they're both are open source, WordPress.com is all inclusive. WordPress.org is where they do all the work on making WordPress better and give you the WordPress you put on a different host. But yeah, it's definitely, for me, it's the most robust, easiest to use. When I build a website for a client, especially artist clients, I build it to where they can go in and maintain it themselves, for as far as changing text, changing images, the simple stuff. The structure I build and the simple stuff they can adjust. And it's worked out fantastic. Like several artists that just ran with it and did amazing things. Any questions on hosting or WordPress or any of that stuff, Wix, any of that?
If you use something like WordPress, can you use Etsy or? I mean,
Absolutely.
just kind of put it over
Absolutely.
there. That's just what you're working on, and then Etsy takes the rest of it.
Yes, any of that kind of stuff, there's a plugin. You put the plugin on your WordPress, you put that information about Etsy, and then you build the WordPress accordingly, the website accordingly. And when you say, go to buy, it automatically goes right over to Etsy. Or there are many other ones. That actually is a lot better, because the whole payment process and everything can get really complicated. And then the shipping process and all of that. And if you have, for photographers, there are, and artists too, there are websites out there where if somebody buys something, they'll print on demand and then ship it. So there's a lot of options that way. For what you do, you wouldn't have that option. You have to ship it yourself.
Right.
But like Etsy would give you a thing saying, hey, this is sold at here, and ship it.
I
So
think on
definitely.
WordPress, they call it currently integrations.
What is it?
The name they use for that is integrations.
Right.
And then you can get integrations with all of the big sales websites, or you can use them for your email newsletter, so that there can just be a little form.
Mhm.
They have all that stuff, and they update it all the time.
And that's one of the big things, update it all the time. When you build a website, there are things called plugins, and those that give you the ability to bring other things in or do other things with your website.
And this one allows plugins.
Yes, but when you get the plugins, make sure they have been updated recently, and there's a lot of users.
Yep.
Every week I get two different emails from different companies that take a look at plugin vulnerabilities. And there are a lot of plugins that companies make, and then the company goes out of business and it gets abandoned, and then it becomes vulnerable to hackers and such. So you want to stay with all the reputable stuff. And on WordPress, it's actually pretty easy, because you go within the WordPress environment to find new plugins. You can get on Google and do a search and find a plugin, get the code, put it in, but it's not approved by WordPress. So all the ones you get through WordPress, they say, these look to be okay. No guarantees, but they look to be okay. And security is huge. When I first started building websites, anybody could host a website. You got somebody with a couple of computers in their closet, they could host your website. But they didn't have enough money coming in to keep up on all the changing threats. So going with a big company like Ionos, which I think is maybe third biggest in the world now, they have more money, more resources to make things safe.
Writing emails at TMCC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gets tough.
They have I appreciate it, cause they have a lot of walls,
Mhm.
you know, and they are constantly saying,
Hello.
you know, like,
Hi there.
don't open things, and
Mhm.
this has been hacked, and, you know, so, they're really good that way, but all those walls that they put up is trying to keep the college safe.
Yes.
You know, and I'm just a retired faculty member, so, you know, they take care of me too. That was the
Mhm.
only thing I got for 27 years working at TMCC.
And that's a real concern.
An email.
We saw the state of Nevada get their database taken away and held to ransom. Not that anything you guys are doing will be that vulnerable, because you don't have a ton of money, but a college does. A city does. There's many cities in the United States that have paid millions of dollars in ransom to get their stuff back. So staying as reputable and simple as possible to be able to set that up. And there are many ways to skin this cat. I mean, you can go to Wix and create something if it's just a kind of a landing page and contact page. And that might be all you need. But it's really fun creating something that shows your personality. And that's what a website gives you the opportunity to do as well. Okay, must-have pages. The 3 must-have pages for your artist website. A landing page. When they call up, it comes up, boom, there's your landing page. What do you want them to see? Image, your name, your logo. How do you grab their attention? And to take we have a newspaper woman here, to take a page, as it were, out of the newspaper vernacular. The above the fold. So when you call up your website, what's above the fold? What's the first thing you see? And then you scroll down, and you think of it just like a newspaper. You get the newspaper, you open it up, above the fold. That's the important part to get your attention. And then they scroll down, you give them a little bit more information. This is all about taking your viewer on a journey through your website, your art, yourself. An about page. They want to know more about you. This is where you can put in your curriculum vitae, your history, your bio,
Artist statement.
artist statement, or all 3. And it's not a bad idea to have them all there, so that, because you're going to need these all the time. And some gallery may say, okay, where's your artist statement? Oh, it's right on the website, the about page. Making it easy for your visitors. And then, of course, a gallery page, showing your work in its best light. Getting great quality imagery, even going to the extreme of going to a place to get your artwork professionally photographed. And there's a lot of places you can do that. You can have a blog or a newsletter. You can hook that right up on your website with MailChimp, or there's a few others. Or you can put a plugin on your website itself. What's one do we use? I was just on it this morning.
The audience?
No. But there's a plugin we use that takes care of all of that right on the website. So, say my Reno Arts News website.
Icegram.
Icegram. It's called
Okay.
Icegram. My Reno Arts News website, I write a review of a play. I did a few of those this week, actually. I put it on the website as a page. No, as a
Post.
There's pages and posts, maybe I'll go into that. And then I tag it properly. When I publish it, it automatically gets emailed out to my email list. So it not only is living on the website, but it automatically goes out to your email list. And an email list is huge. That is the best way for artists to cultivate their collectors. So I use that because it's way easy. there's so many steps I don't have to take. You can integrate MailChimp and those others in there. The free version, you'll expand out beyond that free version quickly. And cost can be a concern. Your own website for the hosting will cost about $150 a year. Your URL will be about $25 a year. And then everything else adds on and adds on. Wix is a little bit more expensive. Trying to keep the cost down and use as many free offers as you can helps out tremendously. So if you're doing like a newsletter, you have a newsletter tab, boom, they're all there, which adds credibility. If a gallery is looking at your stuff, they're gonna look at your website, and if they're really serious, they're gonna look, is there newsletters? What do they talk about? What's their experience? There's a lot of factors that come in, and this is your advertising, your hub of your advertising. What else can we put in there?
Dana,
Calendar.
she has something to say.
Oh,
What about a contact page? Does
Yeah,
that help with the
contact.
bots? Was-
a contact page doesn't necessarily even have to be a contact page. You can put the contact element in like the footer, the header. You can have it in every page. You don't have to have a separate contact page. But having a separate contact page allows you to expand on that a little bit. If you want to have a couple paragraphs saying, I'm easy to contact, easy to work with, whatever. But there's also security that you need to think about on the contact page. Be careful putting your phone number out there, although that's much less of a problem as it used to be. You can have the contact page kind of hidden to where they don't see the email address it's being sent to. They send you a message, they don't see where it was sent, and then you can reply or not. The bots out there really target the contact information and then start sending you all kinds of weird stuff. And then you can put in the thing like, how many motorcycles in this picture? Which box has a motorcycle?
Ugh, people hate that.
The CAPTCHA,
Yeah.
reCAPTCHA stuff. That really helps with security. And not to sound like, there's a ton of people out there trying to take advantage of stuff, but they are. And you have to kind of put these walls up like you said, to keep them from getting your information. And you're gonna get, with the contact page, even as safe as you are, you're gonna get weird emails. But it's pretty easy to deal with that.
I know for a lot of years I did the, write it out as text instead of having a clickable email link. So
Mhm.
it was like Tanya, and I put it in a little bracket, like at, and spell out AT, at Tanya Hester, spell out .com. And that worked really well, but then it stopped working.
Mhm.
So I've switched to the contact form.
Yeah, contact
And
forms.
that's working pretty well right now.
And sometimes you have to get a more advanced reCAPTCHA and pay a little bit of money for that. But that's also a plugin that is usable on your website to put in those safety things. Are you a human? Click the box. They work pretty well, but that is a concern.
Can't AI click the box? No?
I don't know. AI
Yeah.
can't. AI doesn't know how many teeth we have or how many fingers. They're getting smarter.
But I think the thing, there also could be the trade-off that CAPTCHA form is enough to make someone not sign up and not
Mhm.
proceed. So it's trying to weigh the what's the annoyance factor of
Yes.
this feature versus the
Yes.
benefit.
Because if you're trying to figure out all the boxes that have a motorcycle and there's a rearview mirror in one box, is that classified as a motorcycle?
Mhm.
Philosophy. It's all philosophy. What is a motorcycle? But there is safety concerns, and there's a lot of things you can do to make that less, like using the contact form. There's also Jot form. That is a separate website, and they will give you the code to plug into your website. And it works wonderfully. It has a free version that is usually more than enough, and it works amazing. Jotform is really easy to work. We use that with Latimer and our school.
Ladder, yeah,
Yeah, Latimer, we use it a lot.
yeah.
Jot form,
Jotform,
J-O-T.
yep, Jotform. And all of these things are always constantly changing, and there's always new ones coming in as well. And a calendar, you wanna have, you wanna let people know where you're showing, especially your people on your newsletter. Your email list is hugely important, and you'll probably end up with several different lists. One that, these are the buyers, these guys buy all the time, these guys are looking, these guys are just curious, that kind of thing. And right now, that is one of the best things to have, is a good email list and use it. I had one client, she is a anthropologist, and she does work, say, they're putting a road in through an old Indian area, and she works with Native Americans to see if there's any issues, brings everybody together and makes sure there's no issues. Well, there's only a dozen, 2 dozen entities that use that kind of stuff. So we set up a good email list. She sends out her monthly newsletter to make sure that those people know that she's staying up on all the things that change, and her name is always there. So when a project comes up, oh yeah, I just got her newsletter, let's have her do that. Staying relevant and in people's face, hey, we're here, is hugely important. And then there's design. I got a few notes here on design. Connecting all of your social media to your website is important. Right now, the trend is just have the social media icons in a footer, sometimes in the header. And that's what people are expecting. You can take it another step too. Let's say you're really doing a lot on your Instagram. You can have a ticker over on the side that shows your latest Instagram post. That is a really good way to keep that relevance up, because Instagram's always changing. Your website's gonna be much more static. The problem with that is it takes maintenance, especially with anything meta. They don't particularly cooperate well with other people doing that. So they change how stuff works, and suddenly it's not gonna work anymore, and you have to do some updates. But there are options to keeping your website more relevant, less static. Don't expect people to come and visit your website just because it's there. You have to steer them to it. Social media has to steer back to the website. You always have to have that link on there. In a case of Instagram, they only give you like one connection, one address to put in there. You can make a page on your website that has all your connections, and it goes right to there. So there's ways of overcoming any of these challenges and trying to take your viewer where you want them to go. Ultimately, it's wonderful if they like your pictures on Instagram. That's fantastic. But you want them to become engaged into where you're showing, or wanting to have your work on their finger or on the wall.
How do you get the little image from Instagram onto your website? What's the process?
Oh, the link?
Uh-huh.
There's a plugin for, actually in WordPress, it's not even a plugin. There's a lot of functionality that comes in WordPress right off the get-go. And it's, what do they call it? Social media? Is this called social media? And you with Instagram, it's, with WordPress, it's blocks. So you've got a text block, an image block, and then you put the block in for the social media stuff. Within that block, you can say Facebook, Instagram, and then there'll be a box you put in your address. And then it's done.
Okay.
It's really easy.
Really easy to do.
The thing that I think is worth thinking about though is like, there's the computer version of a site and then there's the mobile or
Mhm.
tablet
That's true.
version.
Website always looks so much worse on the mobile.
Yeah, like
Which is
WordPress
where
makes it,
everyone's looking, so
Totally.
it's frustrating, yeah.
WordPress makes it really easy to change the view so you can see if it's like
You can do a preview and see
widescreen,
what it looks
tablet
like.
or cell phone
It's nice.
screen, but anything you put in the sidebar is gonna go way down to the bottom. So it's just good, like don't put anything in the sidebar that you need people to see. That
That's
should be
part
in the
of the
main-
user experience.
Yeah.
And WordPress does have some adjustability on that as well.
Mhm.
And not all mobile devices are created equal. I have an issue right now with Studio 2035, another arts organization, where they've got their classes and we're using a different plugin for all their class information. Well, on Apple devices, it's great. Computer, it's great. An
iPads.
Android phone is hit or miss. Some of it doesn't quite show all of the block. You have to move it over. And people may not know to move over and put the amount of tickets in. It is really, really tough to have a website that hits all the marks, especially Android devices, which there are so many and they all act a little bit different. At least Apple devices are very consistent. So yeah, that is another concern, and that's why using the latest WordPress is very important, because they're always working on it to make it better. It's what's called open source. Nobody owns it. It's not a company, it's a bunch of people who are just trying to make it better, which is an interesting concept. So that goes to the user experience as well. How do you make it easy? How do, when they get to your website, where do you want them to go? And how do you take them there? You might have 2 pages. One of them, not so important. It's like, history. That might be a blue button. Where am I now? What shows are you doing now? That might be a red button. Blue or red. That could be part of a movie. The blue pill or the red pill. But you have the ability with good design to actually steer them the direction you want them to go, but still have all the other stuff there. It's like artist co-op. Do people really care who the board is? Well, you have to have that information there. But it's not necessarily where you want to take them. That's not going to get them in here to buy artwork. Calendars are important for events. They're very frustrating as well. People don't really look at them. But you will get people, as artists, you will get followers who really want to be where you're at and see what you're doing. So cultivating them, the website will help cultivate them and keep them informed. Newsletters are huge. We have mentees, I think, from the first mentee that do their newsletters like crazy. I see them all, they're professional looking, they're wonderful. And they're successful artists now. That's one of the elements. Any questions? Now, who in here has a website already? Tell me about your experiences. Let's start with you. Your experiences with your website.
Well, I just made it like last month. And I'm not like a website expert, so I don't know if it looks like amazing, but what I did was I went to like some of my favorite artists just to kind of see what their websites look like. So I just looked at other artists and then kind of like tried to take the elements I liked from theirs, but it's still not like perfect. I think I'm going on it like every other day to kind of
Hero
tweak it.
sites are a must.
Yeah.
Find things that you like, and then think about it, why do you like it? How did that color make you feel? How about you? What are your experiences?
I mean, I've been doing websites for a bunch of years, and I think the challenge for me is I used to focus on writing, and I wrote a couple of books, and I have like sort of a brand built around that,
Mhm.
and trying to pivot to art is tricky, and I was definitely thinking like, oh god, like my socials are still under a different name, and they link to me, but it's definitely not unified. I have like an old newsletter list that was big, but I don't think most of them are interested in art. And so trying to navigate some of that kind of brand transition stuff, I think is my biggest challenge. I feel comfortable with where the site is right now, although I'm always thinking about like, okay, right now everything's sorted by medium, but should it be sorted more thematically
Right.
by like series instead? And I don't know. I think these are perennial questions for all of us.
Yeah, they're always gonna be there.
Yep. And I think I'm also like very interested in trying to play kind of in the contemporary art space where there are also a kind of different set of rules. Like I've heard that for contemporary art, you're not supposed to make your artist statement very easy to find because that makes you look amateur. And then I'm like, I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
I know,
Yeah.
but then like also you shouldn't use color. It should look like a white cube gallery, like minimal black text, white everything,
Mhm.
stuff where that's I think something I just struggle with is like how much.
Those are trends that will always change.
Totally.
That being said, don't just build it the way you wanna build it and say the trends will come to you.
Right.
That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
I want to make a comment about what you said about your newsletter list. You know, you said you have newsletters list, but you're not sure they're interested in art.
Mhm.
I had a newsletter list where I put all my artist friends on, and that really didn't work real well.
Yeah.
Because they weren't my buyers.
Yep.
So I started a new newsletter list where I personally talked to every person that I asked to be on my list, ask if you'd like to receive this, tell them what I do.
Yep.
And I have 58% readership
It's good.
on mine, which
Which is
is
great.
way above the norm. But it's because I select these people so carefully, and they are all buyers, they're people that are interested in art. I might have a few artists on there, but I haven't really gone out and gotten artists to be on there, because that's not who I'm making my newsletter list for.
Right. Right.
So,
great.
but just having that newsletter list, your email list is so important, so very important. And I have sold off my newsletter, I've sold art consistently, almost every month I sell something.
It's wonderful.
So, yeah, but
It works.
it works. But the other thing is I'm really consistent. I mean, I've put it out there for probably 10 years now, every single 15th of the month. You
Good.
know, and I have people come up and talk to me about, yeah, I read your newsletter, and, you know.
So here's an example of a website I have that kind of brings my other websites together. The Zen group.
Just one pager.
Just a one pager, above the fold, and then links to the other pages.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Get your attention, sideways, so you have to, what? And then links.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of red, a little bit of flash.
Doesn't it bounce too, like the letters, or did you
Yeah,
take
some
that out?
things bounce in. You can do that. You can have something bounce in from the side,
It's kinda cool.
and it gets their attention. Like I said, with Instagram, they only give you one link possible. And there are other places you can go to have your other links on there, but if you have a website, just have a page, do that.
And something that I didn't know for a long time, so I'm sharing this, you all may know this already, but you can have a page on your site that's not listed in your navigation. So you can just have whatever your URL is /links, and that's what you put on your socials.
Yep.
But then it doesn't mean you have to then like put that front and center on the site.
Doesn't have to be necessarily available.
Yeah,
That being said, there is searchability on your websites. So you do want to have a place in a menu item, usually it's on the footer, that has the sitemap. And this is where the web crawlers are gonna go to see, okay, here's the sitemap, here are the pages, and then they get the information from that. It's tough. It's tough to stay ahead of that curve and keep them searchable. But yeah, you can have the private pages, you can have pages that they have to have a code to enter to go see. There are plugins for photographers where, let's say they go take a wedding, they can give their client their own page with a code to get in and download all the stuff from there too. I don't know where that comes in, if that's anything that would help, but if you can imagine it, it's probably there and you can use it. Now that website I just showed you, that page I just showed you, that's just a simple one page, black, white, elegant, simple. I built that one probably 6 years ago or something. It's probably time to take a look, because I use that for clients and say, here's some of the options. It's probably not good to show clients that right now, because it's not fashionable anymore. And just like clothes, websites go in and out of fashion. I'm about ready to redo one that hasn't been done since, what, 2011. So it's way out of fashion. Maybe Pantone will come out with a color of the year before I start working on that. But these things are important. Fonts, you don't want to pick some kind of weird font that won't actually work, because when people call up websites, if it's not a font that they have available, it's just going to be replaced by something else, some Adobe font. Staying with the Adobe fonts is definitely the best. Staying as simple as possible. Because your message, your artwork should shine. Just like she said, white, so it's about the artwork. And it's like, that's a gallery trend right now, is bright white walls, because it's about the artwork. If you go into Strummel Gallery down the street, you can see they're definitely way looking wonderful. Very white walls, not too much, not too crowded, huge space, huge space. Not very many galleries have the ability to have that big of a space. It actually used to be a Volkswagen dealership. So if you think about how spaces can be reused, this was a laundromat. The French laundromat. What's different at a French laundromat? I don't even know.
I think it's not, the mat part means like automat,
Oh!
so French laundry was older, right?
Mhm.
So it was like when they did the stuff by hand, or maybe you'd have the crank machine or
That could
something.
be.
Yeah.
Because I think right here is where they stored their horses. This was the garage. There was a Model A back here for a long time, I guess, right? Where we're at now. So, what I recommend, of course, because, come to me, I have a special $650 for an artist's website. 3 pages, WordPress, a little bit of training. If you're building your website on something else and you have questions, definitely come to me. Just come to me, we'll talk about it. We'll get you going the right direction. There's a YouTube channel called CAI. It's a guy in Europe someplace. I don't know if he's German or something.
He's in Belgium. I
He's
think.
in Belgium.
Oh, okay.
That's why he likes chocolates on it.
What
Yep.
is it, CIA? No.
I like
C-A-I.
his Labrador.
C-A-I,
C-A-I.
and what does he do?
He's a wealth of information. He's an artist and has a gallery and I think a magazine. A wealth of information. He talks a lot about your website, a lot
How to
about
price it.
pricing.
Sure.
It has a little bit of a European flair to it. But the guy speaks really good English.
So how,
It's a cute dog.
did you just go online and put in C-A-I
C-A-I on YouTube.
on
It's
YouTube?
YouTube.
contemporary art issue.
That's it.
That might get you
Okay.
closer.
Can I
Yeah,
have
I was
something?
trying-
If somebody uses you to set up their website
Mhm.
and they wanna update it later, can they do it themselves?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay,
When
yeah,
I'm through with it, you get a Excel spreadsheet with all the passcodes and
Your
all the
colors,
stuff you
your
need. You can do it yourself, or if you go to somebody else, they could do it. Nothing is held back.
okay,
I
We don't hold you hostage.
I never hold anybody hostage. I
okay.
had one friend who I was gonna do her website, she does spiritual stuff. And she decided to go to an agency so that they could do everything for her social media, all that stuff. She spent tens of thousands of dollars and got zero out of it, not even one phone call.
Oh my goodness.
And then, at the end of the year contract, she said, can you take this over? And they didn't provide half the stuff, and what they built it on, which was called Divi, at that time, was you had to buy it. So I was stuck. There was nothing I could really do. I'd have to rebuild it completely. Do not use Divi. Divi uses WordPress, but it makes it much more complicated. You pretty much have to have a degree in design to be able to use it.
And then
It's
it
just
changes all
crazy.
the time, so
And
then
it
you're
changes all
just,
the time.
How do you
you're
spell
just
Divi?
screwed.
D-I-V-I.
D-I-V-I.
Not to use.
Do not use it.
Do not.
Well, I just have friends that
Use.
had websites set up by somebody else,
Mhm.
but then every time they wanted to add anything to it or change it, they had to go back to that person to
Yes.
do it.
See, that's why I give a little bit of training, so at least
Yeah.
you have an idea, and if you have questions, I can help. Or if you just want me to do it, I've got the new client in Carson, and I'm saying, I can train somebody, and, no, we just wanna send you the
No,
stuff
You
and
to
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah,
We've got a new show every
6 weeks.
6 weeks, they have a new show
Nevada
every
Artists
6 weeks.
Association.
And we just wanna send you the stuff and you just do it,
yeah.
Yep.
which I do for Latimer and Artist Co-op. So it depends on how much you wanna get involved and how much that is in your bailiwick. I mean, is it something you wanna do or not wanna do? Do you wanna paint, or do you wanna work on your computer? I want to create my art, but I haven't for a few weeks, because I haven't even left my computer.
No. Nose to the
Which is a
grindstone
blessing
lately.
and a curse.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
You wanna do your art, but you're a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do your business first.
Business side.
Like, ugh.
And we had two new plays this week, so I did 2 reviews this week with photos. And I got both of them out before the opening bell by a few hours with one.
Hey, you still did.
But what is it you need out of your website? My background is mechanical engineering. So let's say you have a block with a threaded hole in it. And it comes a certain size, but it has a tolerance. It's 3 inches square, but it can be 3 1/4 inches, or it can be 2 3/4 inches. Anything in there works. That's the same with your website. What do you need and what will work? Maybe just a contact page. You don't need to have it all crazy, but you can if it's really cool to you. I remember when I had somebody make my first photography website, and I was looking for a hero site. Hero sites are great. And I find this site, and I never could find it again. I don't remember the guy's name. I could never, it was like this mystery. It was there for a second, I couldn't find it. A landing page, my name is so-and-so, I am a professional photographer. I am busy 24/7. You cannot afford me. But here's, you push this, click this button to see my work. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, right. Click the button, it's like, oh, dude, you are underselling yourself. He was so good. The work was so good. And his work really shined by itself. All famous people done, he was just so good.
And you've never been able to.
Never been able to find it again.
That's because he only gave you one bite of the apple,
One bite of the apple.
and then he never let you back in,
Never let me back. I was not worthy.
because he knew you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and I
Because you're
totally,
human.
I looked at it and said, probably I can afford you, because all the people pictured here are very famous millionaires and actors and sports people.
Someday
So-
when you're not looking for it, it's gonna come up again.
Maybe, unless he's retired, because
You better
that
grab.
was like, God, 25 years ago or so.
Isn't that funny? And you still remember him.
I still remember.
Yeah,
His website was very impactful.
isn't that cool?
Now, a lot of people would see that and go, ah, but I was curious. How do you pique their curiosity? I think I feel heat, actually. Thank goodness I was already frozen.
Well, it's decided what temperature it's at, and so when we got it at 78, so when it drops down to like 77 or 76, it comes on. Now everybody's watching it.
I think I'm
Oh.
gonna shut off our camera. Are you
We're
almost
just having a
done?
conversation now. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just conversation
Okay,
now.
thank you, Dana.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.